Frank Baylis is in studio. Frank, thank you so much. I can call you Frank now.
Absolutely.
Is that okay? For those of you, and this is interesting, I said this before we actually booked the interview. Once this whole race was over and Mark Carney, becomes a leader of the Liberals, becomes the prime minister, a lot of people are asking, what's going to happen? What's up with Frank Baylis? For someone who nobody knew in terms of politically around the rest of the country, or really in Montreal, you're a businessman. That's been your thing for a while. You were an MP for 4 years. But they wondered, okay, you did pretty good in the debates. I think a lot of people agreed that you had done very, very well. And then, the election comes and, okay, you finish whatever, third, fourth, doesn't matter. You're not going to be the leader of the Liberal Party. So people are wondering, I like this guy. Do you have a political future? What's next for Frank Baylis? So let me ask you that as a general question. First of all, your reaction to what happened. Were you disappointed? I mean, did you really believe that because people did not know you that well, you could have a chance to win that thing? I mean, you don't run when you don't think you have a chance, but what did you think really?
Look, I felt I had something to contribute. First of all, I'm a lifelong Liberal and I wanted to get my ideas out there. I realized afterwards, a mistake on my part is that I was never someone that looked for being known. It was never my shtick. Hey, I want to be known, or get me in the pictures and all that. So I'm more of an ideas person, more of a get down dirty, get to work kind of a guy. But I realized afterwards, to be fair to everybody, they didn't know me. There's like a very short race, 2 months. So there's not the time. Yeah. And then you add to that the media was always moved over to Trump. Every time Trump put out a tweet, everybody had to deal with that. So there wasn't a lot of time even to get to know any of the contestants.
So we're just talking about this off air, which is interesting. If Trump had not been in the picture, do you think things might have turned out differently?
I think that I would have done better. I think that they would have talked more about the race. And that's what I expected to do. And I expected to get my ideas to come across. But I'd hold press conferences where just a couple people in Ottawa would show up. Yeah. And they'd say, look, we're not talking about this today because we're talking about tariffs this, tariffs that, on and on. So it was hard to break through that, not just for me, but I think for the race.
Looking back, how did you think you did in the debates, both English and French?
Okay, so I walk out of the debates and my team's there and they go, great job, Frank. And I'm thinking, they're just trying to keep my spirits up here or whatever. I'm thinking, whatever, I didn't do that good. But then afterwards, like I'm in the airport, I'm in the restaurant. Are you Frank Baylis? I say, yeah, can I take a picture? And I'm going, okay. So I was kind of surprised. I didn't think I did anything special, to be honest. But people seem to say that they liked the way I spoke and the ideas that I was presenting.
I wonder how much of that. I remember reacting when this was all over, saying it was really a case of, I think anyway, for me, Mark Carney and Chrystia Freeland doing, for lack of a better way to describe it, so poorly. I don't think, first of all, for Mark Carney, the odds-on favorite, if you will, I don't think he really resonated with people. He seemed kind of stiff. He didn't come across, all that well. Chrystia Freeland, I hate to say it, and I have no bones here with any of this, a lot of times sounds like she's talking to a grade school class. and I don't think that resonates with most Canadians either. Yeah. So I think you kind of win to some degree a little bit by default in that area, which is good for you.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people also said, I liked his ideas on business, stuff that they heard about what you would do, actual policies, which they didn't hear from anybody else.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, is really just talk about my ideas. I didn't want to rehash the past. I don't want to get into name calling. And I think most Canadians, most people say, okay, what are you going to do for me today? These are my challenges today and tomorrow. What are we going to do about that? And a lot of politics, they land a punch. Oh, you're in a debate, land a punch. And I'm thinking, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not looking to do that. I'm really looking to put forward ideas that people are going to resonate with and say, let's get to work on this.
So at this point, we know there's in all likelihood an election being called on Sunday, and we're going to have a fairly short race, either going to the polls at the end of April, beginning of May. My question, I guess, would be, have you heard from Mark Carney at all since his selection as the leader?
Mark Carney's been very nice to me all along. So we spoke after the debates, before the debates, we spoke after the debates. He also spoke to me just before we walked on Sunday night for me to get crushed. Or as my friend said, I was first from the bottom. So, he's always had the door open, and they did reach out to me to see if I wanted to run, but I made the decision, I'm not going to run this time.
Does that mean you will never run again? Or what do you mean this time? I will point out one other thing, and I think people are obviously beginning to realize that now polls are beginning to show what was going to be an easy loss or an easy win, if you will, for the Conservatives. That's off the table now, thanks to Donald Trump, or maybe not. But regardless, it's a race now, and some polls actually have the Liberals ahead. Some suggest if there was a vote tomorrow, as they say, Liberals could even potentially form a majority. Wouldn't you want to be part of a government? Or
what I'll do is this: is if we're lucky enough to win, and the Canadian people say, "Look, we're going to put faith in the Liberal Party again," I'm going to offer my services to Ottawa, I'm going to say, look, they used to have things called $1 a year man or something like that. So I'm not looking for a job, but I'm more than happy to work on any one of these few files that I think I can really contribute on. And we'll have that, sit down and have that conversation with them. So you don't necessarily need to be elected. Granted, it helps in some ways to have an impact. But my feeling was, look, let Mr. Carney go and do what if he wins, and that'd be fantastic, because I do think that he'd be a better prime minister than Mr. Poilievre. But I don't want to get into that part of it. But I'm going to try and impact and really help my country if I can, and they're open to having me help.
Okay, because I think some people might say, you know what, you wanted to be prime minister, you wanted to be leader, it didn't work out, game over, next page. Not for you. You want to stay involved.
I want to have an impact. I feel like I truly feel I've been blessed to live in this country. Both my parents immigrated here. It's been great for our family, my extended family, and I've had success in business, and I want to give back. And how do you give back? I can give back in this way. I could get myself elected. They did offer me, so people should know that they were very accommodating in that. I just felt
Did you think about it when they offered at all, or was it no, not now?
They talked to me even before the debates and after the debates and that. So they've been open to me, and I think that what I bring to the table, there's not a lot of people like me in government. So you've got the bureaucracy who are professional bureaucrats, and then you've got elected officials. But a challenge we have is that the elected officials are becoming professionals at getting elected. And so there's not someone that's coming with a lot of real world experience. So I do think I have something to offer. We'll just see how.
So from a business point of view, so you have a background in business. People know you're a self-made man. You've done very, very well in business. I know you talked about it during the campaign. Let's say they say to you, Frank, we need someone to sit down with a business background, which you have, as you said, as opposed to many other people in the party. Sit down and talk to Donald Trump. He's a businessman, right? He was in real estate. That's what he apparently does. What would be that conversation? What would you tell him about what's going on now?
Well, I think Mr. Carney's already started the right way, and it's something that I said I would do, and he's doing the same thing. Until we see a bit of respect, why would I go to someone's house or go to someone's place to be insulted? And so if I don't think we can have a conversation with Mr. Trump. I mean, we'd happy to pick up, and our prime minister has to pick up the phone if he calls. But someone that's insulting our prime minister, and by virtue of that, insulting our country, making fun of us, why do we need to put ourselves in that position? And I don't think it helps at all. By the way, flying down there and having to sit on your hands while he lords it over you, I don't think that helps at all. So my position was always to be, okay, you're going to treat us with respect. And if not, we're not going down there to be made fools of, like he's done with many other people. So Mr. Carney's taking that approach, and I agree with him on that.
So it's a matter of us waiting for him. Is it you call me before I call you?
I think that what he's going to do is he's going to try and hit us, but we need to take those hits, and then he'll see that we're not backing down and it's not working, and then he'll pivot. I'm sure of that, because he's destroying their economy. He is hurting their stock market's gone down, as I predicted. They're having the beginning of inflations. They've lost consumer confidence. So creating a world of uncertainty is bad for everybody. It's bad for Canada, no doubt, but it's also bad for Americans.
And I know the government's position, we have Melanie Joly coming up later in the show, the position now about this trying to sell Americans on the fact that this is bad for them. Forget about talking to people and, Congress people and politicians. People in the street, the average working man and woman, that will have to realize this is going to hurt them. That's the right approach.
Yeah, well, I think the Americans are going to look at first thing their stock market. They love their stock market, Americans, and he's brought it down tremendously just by the behavior. And look, let's say you're in construction, American construction. You can't start a program, you can't start a new building because steel might go up 50%.
Yeah.
And you can't take that risk, or wood might go up 50%. So he's forces a lot of business people have to put things on hold in the United States.
We're out of time. I want to thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. I'm guessing that's by virtue of what you said, not the last we necessarily have seen of Frank Baylis in politics.
That's correct.
So were that to happen, I wish you best of luck, and I thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it too.